the quicker I get these few things done, the quicker I get to go away.
It's mainly a job that I've been putting off because I'm not experienced with 240 when it's fixed to a van. So that's what we're doing today. We have got a lovely plug socket to fit. That's going to be going in just there, solely because it's a bit too big to go on that plinth just there. We can stick the air fryer up here, cooking our air fryer stuff, while our other stuff is cooking on the induction hob. So I've got some cables and stuff to run from the inverter in the back of the van, underneath the bed, through, and we've got to sort that out. Then I've got the Renogy shunt and the Renogy inverter on-off switch. I've made a little template there. They're going to be going up here, so I need to transfer those measurements onto there, get them hidden away nicely. The joy is that's underneath the actual worktop quite well, so it's not going to glare or anything like that, because the Renogy shunt does have a little glow on it, no more than the glow we get on the actual dimmer switches, so it's not going to bother us too much. We've got the safety clips to obviously clip all the wires in. I've got a new sink trap. Now that's because the sink trap that we've currently got, or the sink hole, doesn't have a plug on it, and it's a bit grubby, so I went out and picked one of them up. So I really do hope that's going to fit. It's got a built-in plug, and it looks like it might fit, but it might be a bit too big. I don't know. We're going to try that one out a bit later. Every time I go around a corner, my Trolino toilet starts sliding around everywhere, so I've got some little rubber feet for it to be able to put on the bottom. Hopefully that stops it sliding. And I know there's a fair chunk more stuff to do, but the quicker I do it, the quicker I get to go away. But I don't want to do it too quick where it's messed up. It's quite a tricky challenge. You see, because the inverter is tucked away underneath the bed down there. So I've got to run the cables through this bedboard just here into this space that's behind this. So I can't just like put a drill in there now and drill it, because I can't get the holes, I can't get the equipment under there, all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to have to take measurements, do that from the outside. Then I can take the sink out, because the sink just lifts out, it's not sealed in just yet, and I can trace the cables all the way to where I need to go to. I've got to get the template on there, cut the holes perfectly fine. Then I've got to find the exact place there where I want the actual plug to be, because I've got a board that runs directly up there, so I can't just put it in there in the middle, although that's what I would ideally like it to be. So I might have to go on the side, or on the side, most likely go on this side away from the sink. So the first job is masking tape. I want to masking tape the area where I'm going to be cutting into this VANZ Adventure furniture. It's going to look like this. See? Just like that. Now I can draw onto that without actually marking the VANZ Adventure furniture. Same down there. I am trying something a little bit different, so to speak. This is not the way to do it, so don't try and copy this. If I ever wanted to sell this, I'm going to have to change this, but I have no plan on actually selling it. Got an extension lead, which is going to be plugged into the inverter. That plug thing just there, I'm literally just going to snip that off and then wire it straight into the plug just here. We've got a couple of backups. One, the plug that's built in with this has a fuse. Number two, the inverter has a fuse. So in theory, I don't really need a consumer unit from the inverter to the 240 inside the van, because it's already fused anyway. Now I can't cut the holes out just yet. Daniel's son's a joiner apprentice, so he's got a multi-tool, so I've gave him the task of being able to accurately be able to cut them out perfectly fine with a multi-tool. So I'm going to move over to the next job. I pulled the sink out and I've left the grommet from the old trap. You can see how minging and disgusting that actually is. So we've got for this new one, and I've got the bottom on it, and it looks like it might actually fit really, really well. So we're just going to basically put it together just like this. So we've got the rubber seal and the actual trap. That goes on the inside, with this bolt going straight through the middle. So with that all lined up and put through there, goes into there, and look at that. It just fits perfectly. And I think we can honestly say that fits perfect, and the outlet is a lot bigger, so I can get different various pipes into there. And we've actually got a plug that actually works. However, I'm going to leave this out just because that hole in the worktop is going to make better access for us. I think now I need to get the fridge out. But this is a really good top tip for anyone converting a van. Always add more cable on your fridge or on other things than you actually need. That way, if you do need to pull it out, you've got enough cable to actually pull it out without having to unwire it. So the plan is get this big hole saw and go underneath this ridge onto the bulkhead and drill a couple of good holes all the way through along the whole length, and not too thinly spaced between the holes, quite a chunk, just to keep its strength. Number one, I could pass a plug straight through that perfectly fine. I don't need to cut a sealed plug off or anything like that. Number two, that adds a lot more ventilation for the fridge. We've got the induction hob. We're going to have a fair bit going on under there. So a bit of ventilation is always good. On a later video, in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to be doing the plumbing. So if I put the holes in there now for the plumbing pipe, just makes that video a whole lot easier to film. His multi-tool died, so he'll be back in half an hour to finish that. I'm going to crack on with some wiring. Now, like I say, I'm doing this in a way that will not pass a habitation check. So if I wanted to sell it, I'm going to have to change it back, stick a fuse box in and stuff like that, a consumer unit. So I've got my plug just there. Look how nice that is. We've got live and neutral up there, and the earth is just there. I'm simply just wiring that up. I've cut the end off the extension lead. It's wired up to a plug. That's going to go straight down to the inverter and then strapped up nicely behind the unit. Like I say, there's fuses in the actual plug for the extension lead, and there's also fuses in the inverter. We ran the cable from the Renogy shunt under here and the cable from the Renogy on off switch. They're under there, ready for those holes just to be touched up, just to be finished. Then we can take the tape off, get them plugged in. This is in. We've just got to continue running the cable, but my hole saw has now died. We've just added the fuse back into the DC to DC charger. The van's been running perfectly fine on just solar because we've got 525 watts on the roof. However, with the inverter, we can now start using a lot more power. So having that extra backup to be able to charge it up a little bit quicker, that's just going to be helpful. Plus, I've got it. Why not use it? Just got to nip onto the Victron app now to set it all up, or just double check that it's still set up. With these all cut to size, that's the exact reason why you need masking tape, because it gives you a nice clean edge. We strip all this masking tape off, put the gauges in, and then we get to do the wiring in the back. I say wiring in the back, there actually isn't that much wiring to do in the back. All I've got to do is plug in some plugs and secure the cables to the wall. Because while we were waiting for all the batteries to charge, I managed to trace all the cables down and get them through that hole. I even managed to put the little cables and stuff for everything else up here. So that's the Renogy shunt, that comes through there. That is the Renogy on off switch, so that goes through there, clicks into there. It's a lovely tight fit. So look at that. Now let's get the shunt on. Look at that. And they're hidden perfectly underneath the worktop. You can hardly see them at any point. All the way over, neatly tucked up, all the way into the inverter. Now to seal the hob in, we've put the sealant all the way around. We've got the Sterling Power induction hob with the control panel and the plug. It is literally just a case of plug the plug into the plug socket that we've put under there, get the screen, put it back into this hole down here, push the induction hob onto the sealant, clean all the sealant edge, and then it's done. Well, apart from another job that I said I'd get done today. All that and nothing went wrong. I'm actually becoming quite good at this sort of stuff. All we've got to do now, if we want to use the hob or those plug sockets or those USBs, is just walk over here, turn the inverter on, come all the way down here, and the induction hob turns on. The plugs are all active. And my new induction cookware has just arrived from the one and only Amazon. Whistling kettle and a pan that I can do everything in. So we have no idea how to actually use the induction hob, so we're just going to turn it on and see what happens. So the inverter's turned on, then I guess we just... Oh, it's on. It says on. Or does that say O0N? Oh, function. Something. It's doing something. P8. What does P8 mean? I don't know.
Temperature, I think.
Maybe. I don't know. So we've got a timer, pause, function. I don't know what this is. An arrow pointing up.
Temperature up.
I haven't got a clue. Oh yeah, we've got the instructions from Lee down at VANZ Adventure, so we'll be able to see what that says. Put it onto the highest power level and look at how much it's drawing. So 1.5 kilowatts. You see why I put in a 3,000 watt inverter. Right, okay. Knowing we've got this and the air fryer going perfectly fine, they're both going to be up there reaching that. Oh, it's boiled! And it didn't even use that much power. Now you've got a big wattage coming in from the solar, 100 watts, and it only used, what, 3% of my, but not even 3%, 1% of my battery. Now they're going to do just nicely. I don't know whether it was a good thing or a bad thing that I started to learn how to use Amazon. This is the sort of things that I proper geek out about. So it's quite sunny outside. It's raining, but it is quite sunny. I've got the USB charger plugged into the plugs, but that plug will only work if the inverter is turned on. So the inverter is on. Currently, I have 180 watts coming into the battery bank. I've just plugged my phone on charge and it still didn't drain any of the battery. It just kept on. It dropped down to whatever it was, but it was still an intake into the batteries. So my phone was just being charged solely off solar power. Free electricity. Oh, I've got to get my ass back into gear. I've been just stood here having a coffee, just enjoying the awe that I'm in over doing this van. I mean, it's really looking like a camper now. And it's getting to the point where it's like properly 100% usable. I mean, there's still loads to do. I mean, we've still got to plumb in a shower, but Amazon did drop off parcels to be able to fix that. So we'll be doing that and all the plumbing, because we've got no drainage, we've got no plumbing, we've got nothing like that yet. That's coming in a future video. But for this one, I need to crack on with my last job of the day. Underneath this, when we lift the lid up, you can see I've got my diesel heater. In the future, that's going to have a tube coming out of there, through there, and it's going to come out there. But it's also going to be teed off and going into the shower. What I want to do today is put a pipe through there and out there with the vent on the front, just so I can physically use it. But it's not safe to use just like that. I need to have air coming into this unit for the air intake that I've got on the side just there. So I'm going to be drilling a few holes down there and I'm going to vent it on the outside. I haven't got a vent to put on the outside yet. That's something to do next time I go to B&Q. But I can at least make the air inlet a little bit better. Now, yes, I do know that the air inlet for that Chinese diesel heater comes from underneath the van. But when you do turn it off, it forces air in that side to go over the heating element to help cool the heating element down. The air intake from underneath is just for the general combustion inside it. So this is all we've got from the last diesel heater plus the new diesel heater that we got, plus something I ordered on Amazon. So we're going to try and go like that, which got covered by a tube of spray glue when it did explode not long ago. Anyway, comes off the diesel heater, goes into a T-piece, comes down off the T-piece straight to the front of the bed, and then from the other T-piece straight down into the shower. That is in theory, whilst keeping in mind I don't have a hole saw bit that's big enough for this. I had to do a quick trip down to Screwfix. This, I've got loads of these, all different sizes, but I haven't got one that's 80mm, and the closest one they could find was 86mm. So I've got that. Hopefully my fitting in the middle with the drill bit actually fits it. We don't know. I've got some strapping to hold it down, and I've got some more sanitary silicone to be able to secure it into the shower tray. Well, it fits. Look at that. That's a big boy on there. That's going to make way for all those pipe work anyway. We've got that vent in, secured in, sealed in, just waiting for the sealant to actually cure. That goes down into the T-piece just there. We've got this piece just here. When the glue and all the sealant and everything is secured in the shower and on the inside, then I'm going to connect it up to that T-piece there. But first, it's going to have to do a swan neck up and then back down into there. And that's to stop any water getting in there and basically going all the way down into the diesel heater. It's going to get caught on that swan neck and then come straight back out. That way I can use this shower as a drying room for when I've gone on a hike and I'm absolutely soaking wet. I can just hang some clothes in there, turn the diesel heater on, boof. We're now down in the very not so sunny Snowdonia. Because we've had a lot of cloud cover, it's not been so cold, so I didn't need the heating last night. However, I woke up this morning, I'm a little bit chilly, I want to put the heating on, but I can't, because I was just waiting for various bits of sealant to cure, connect it up, and then I can put my heating on. Problem is, I don't have any Jubilee clips that are actually big enough to do the job that I want to do it. So I'm going to temporary fix it with a bit of silver foil tape. You can see what I mean now, can't you, where the heater comes from the diesel heater through and up to this one in the middle. Now we've put that in the middle height instead of just on the floor. We noticed last time we had it on the floor, and if you're walking along, you knock it with your feet all the time. So now that's middle, so I can take that tape off now. It goes straight down and up and over before it goes into the shower. That's because the shower, we don't want the water to come down and run into there. If it goes into there, it's not going to fill up massively, and if it does, the diesel heater will just blow it straight back out. Let's try it then. there's the control panel on the floor, because we just haven't found a place for that yet. We press on the remote control and boom, it's coming on. My only real concern about this setup is the fact that I've gone for a composting toilet. And the heater vent comes out there, which again, I've got to get the masking tape off. That might be a bad idea. Only time will tell. Tune in next time, because I'm about to start another road trip. It's going to be a trip down memory lane. It's going to be absolutely amazing. We're going to end up at Vanlife Festival. If you're new around here, please subscribe.